Don't ever forget.
Don't ever forget that today, August 14, 1945, 77 years ago, United States President Harry S. Truman announced that Japan, the last standing force of the Axis powers, had surrendered to the Allies, marking this as the end of the bloodiest armed war in recorded history, the World War II. Let me take you back in time. Severely penalized, sanctioned by other countries because of World War I, Germany started to rise up from the ashes. As Adolf Hitler takes control of Germany, the Nazi power grew in a new totalitarian regime. Hitler aimed to conquer lands, expanding Germany's territories and influence. On September 1, 1939, the German army bombarded Poland. The attack didn't sit well on France and Great Britain. They declared war on Germany soon after. Germany continued to invade lands, leaving bodies of soldiers and civilians on their path. In 1940, Germany invaded Denmark, Norway, and France. Although France was under the German rule, the French continued to rebel against them. Led by General Charles de Gaulle, they created the Free France Resistance. World War II was mainly divided into three factions. The United Socialist Soviet Republic, or USSR, headed by Supreme Leader Joseph Stalin, who maintained close personal control over the Soviet battlefronts, military reserves, and war economy. The Allies were forces of Great Britain, United States, France, and later on China continued to work hand in hand with the USSR. And the Axis powers, which consist of combined forces of Germany, Italy, and Japan. Not only did the armies of these warring factions clash and engage in a bloody battle, civilians also participated by protesting, protecting wanted people, and spying, getting classified information in support of the Allies. On June 22, the Axis launched its biggest military operation to attack USSR, which was called Operation Barbarossa. For 872 days, the German army and the forces of the USSR and allies clashed in a bloody battle. This battle alone caused the deaths of more than 1 million civilians that were caught in a crossfire between the two factions. While this is happening, Japan continued to expand its territory. The United States countered its expansion by imposing an embargo of oil and steel. The Japanese responded on this aggressively, and on December 7, 1941, the Japanese conducted a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor in Hawaii. The attack on Pearl Harbor killed 2,403 United States personnel, including 68 civilians, and destroyed or damaged 19 U.S. Navy ships, including 8 battleships. Japan conquered territories in South Asia. The countries of Indonesia, Thailand, Philippines are just some of the conquered lands of the Japanese. And thereby horrors filled the land because of forced labor. Women turned into prostitutes for the Japanese army. Executions and oppression of civilians are rampant, filling the hearts of many with fear and anger. On the other part of the world, the Jews, resistance fighters, political opponents, homosexuals, and even people with disabilities were brutally executed by the German army, causing hundreds of thousands of innocent people losing their lives and loved ones. On June 6, 1944, the Allies took Paris, France, and around Germany, different countries are slowly being liberated by the Allies. Victorious in their pursuit, the Allied powers announced the creation of the United Nations. On its founding conference, the countries that declared war on Germany and Japan were welcomed by the Allies. On April 13, 1944, Hitler took his life just days before the Soviets arrived. Just 8 days after that, Germany surrendered. The United States and USSR fought side by side to suppress Japan. On August 6 and August 9, 1945, an American B-29 bomber dropped the world's first deployed atomic bomb over the Japanese city of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The explosion instantly killed an estimated 300,000 people, mostly civilians. Not long after that, tens of thousands more died of radiation exposure. On April 15, 1945, the years of war, bloodshed, fear, and grieving of the people who are present on these turbulent times finally got their much hoped for peace when Japan finally surrendered, marking the end of World War II. At the end of this war, an estimated 60 million people lost their lives, most of which are civilian casualties. And today, as we remember this day in our dark history, let's hope and pray that history will not repeat itself. Don't ever forget that. If you want to leave any comments, please put it down below and don't forget to press that button.
Don't ever forget